Hey, what's up, everyone? Tonight I'm very excited because we have both inverters connected and running. The setup is very messy, cables all over the place, and maybe a little bit dangerous, but they are working fine. So, what we did was to use the copper bar to make a bus bar, several bus bars, one here, one across here to link both 250 amp breakers. We have one up here for the negative leg for both inverters. So we managed to get both running and they are balancing the load perfectly and so on. So I just want to run you quickly through what the setup is and how it's functioning. So from the AC side, we have the three legs coming out of one inverter. This one is the slave because both must be master slave setup. The newer one we have it as a master and the older one as a slave. We have the leg 1, leg 2, and the neutral coming over, going into this 3-pole breaker. So we have leg 1 here, leg 2 here, and the neutral. So we have a central neutral here, everything connected to one here. So what happens is leg 1 and leg 2 from the master here goes into this 3-pole breaker, and then down here we use a bar, pretty much what would be a bus bar on the AC side to link both leg 1 and leg 2 from both inverters in parallel, and leg 1 from inverter 1 and leg 2 from inverter 2 connected here using this black cable to link them, which it would be should be a bus bar. Leg 2 from inverter 1 and leg 2 from inverter 2 connected using this bar, and then that essentially creates a parallel link between both inverters, because normally once you link two inverters you need to have them in parallel, not in series, in parallel. Then one leg going out and the other leg going out, so leg 1 and leg 2 going out to the AC breaker box, and then the neutral, they are all connected here from inverter 1 and 2, and also the ground, which is a bare copper here. It really should be on one of these, but it doesn't really matter. It's temporary, but it doesn't really matter because everything is connected. The inverter is connected to the base here, and it's all connected here, so that will work fine. As it relates to the network is set up using pretty much just a straight cable. Just the only thing to note is that at the end of each device on the Zambus network, it is required to be terminated. So this would be one end, and the SCP is another end. So one must be terminated here, and then you connect the top part of this network output into the top of that one, the other inverter, and then the bottom part of the output goes to the SCP, and then the SCP is terminated on the other end, because each device on the Zambus, each of these devices, they have two ports essentially. So that creates the network. Now, in terms of the configuration, pretty much it's about putting the SCP going into the advanced mode and copying the settings from one inverter over to the other and setting one as slave and one as master. Once you set up the network and power on both devices, what will happen is that you'll get an error code. That error code will have both inverters pretty much frozen, and they are in standby mode. They won't be able to move forward, and then you do the configuration. To do the configuration, press the 3 buttons all at once. 1, 2, 3 buttons. First 3 buttons on the SCP all at once. Then you go into advanced mode. From there, you go into, well, the error code is gonna tell you that there are too many masters. because all the Conext SWs, they come as masters by default. So you need to put them as whichever one as slave. One as slave, one as master. Because this is a new inverter, we use this one as the master, because the way the Zambus, the way the multi-system works is that the master unit will be running like almost, it will be running all the time. And then the slave unit will only come on when there's a load over 60% off. So here we have a load pulling 4,600 watt. So at this point, both units are supporting that load. So I said the total continuous flow from both inverters can go up to 7,000 watt, and as you notice, the bar is pretty much a little bit over 50%, a little bit over halfway, because of the total is 7,000 watts continuous. So that is it. They are both running perfect. Just the setup now need to be rearranged and these cables placed in proper piping and so on, and the breakers in placed in breaker boxes. These are not correct though. These breakers are, there should be 2-pole breakers and there should be 30 amp, but these are the ones I have for now. They will be replaced. And there the fan goes, so it starts on the master first, and I guess it probably will soon kick in on the slave inverter as well. And this is one of the reasons I had to move the inverters over, to ensure that there is at least 10 inches between the next unit, the next device, and the vent, because when the load gets to this point, then there's need for cooling, and if the space is not enough, then the fans, and there it goes, the other one is now chipping in. So both inverter fans are running. Well, the load is off now, so I guess they are just running to cool down. But the thing is though, so the slave stopped running already, but the master is still running. Now, once you have these inverters in multi-unit setup, what tend to happen is that, well, the way they are automatically configured from the factory is that the slave is always gonna be in seek mode, which essentially is seeking for power, meaning the slave won't work, it will be idle until there is need for it to chip in. So it won't support until around about 60% of the 77,000 watt load. And because of that, what you find happening is that the master will work out more than the slave. So I believe one of my thinking is that going forward, after some time, it might make sense to switch them around and make the slave become the master, because if you keep the master alone running for too long, then obviously it's gonna die before the slave, and you're gonna end up with the slave being the only inverter in your multi-unit setup. So that is one consideration I'm noticing, based on the fact that, as you can hear how long the master is still running, trying to cool itself down, which shows that it is the unit that carries the bulk of the weight. So you want to ensure that you cycle them, change the duty from master to slave, so that they can be balanced out. And for a better look on what is happening here, that's the bus bar, the copper bar I showed you in the other video before this one. This is it down here. It's across there, linking both 250 amp breakers. So this cable is just hanging there because I didn't have the end to put on it, and that it is for the surge protection device there. So all of that need to be sorted out. Positive coming in here, negative here, which should really be up here in order to give us accurate reading in the trimetric. So now it's saying 75% on the batteries, and we are pulling 19 amp. The battery bank is 900 amp hours, round about 20 kilowatt hours of battery. And that's it for this one, guys. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next one.